MasochistMouse here, and I'm back for another video. Today it's 10/25/2020, so it's getting close to Halloween, which is pretty cool. It's been a little while since I did a video. I really have been wanting to get on track, but there's been a lot of things going on, and stuff. And so at the beginning of this month, I started a new job. And that was going okay at first, and then, anyways, start off everything had been going fine, and Saturday night just seemed like another night going in. I was starting to get used to being there, and anyways, when you go in to this fulfillment center, if you work there, if you're like me, which I still kind of a new hire, so I'm not like a shift leader or any manager or any of those other titles that you can get in jobs. I'm just a regular hourly employee. And so I get there, I waited in line a little while, and then finally I wasn't up to the end of the line yet to get assigned a station, but this guy came down through, and he's like asking everyone if they work Sunday. So since that was one of my days, I said yeah. So he took me and 9 other people. That was only one other female, and he's like, alright, you guys follow me. And so he took us and had us go with a different person who was supposed to train us. And when we got there, he set everyone up to stations that he could. There was some extra people who he was going to have do something else, so I ended up getting a station. And at first things were fine. When I first got there, the boss of my uppers for my department, because I was in another department, happened to be right near there, because across from where my station was, there was a break area. And he happened to be there on a laptop doing whatever. I didn't really talk to him. But, while he was there, everything was fine. After a little while, he went wherever, because I don't know if he was just on break or if he was doing something for work, because I didn't talk to him or bug him or anything. And so after he left, things started to get weird. So this guy that was supposed to be training us, and we reached out far enough stations you couldn't really hear each other unless you called out to him. But regular talking, you can't really hear across the stations, but you can see people. So that means someone can talk to you and other people can't really hear what you're talking about unless they're standing closer. So anyways, when the manager of my uppers, so like I don't know if that's would be like a head manager or what you'd call that. So when he left the area, because he had other stuff to do. Anyways, after he left, that's when things went downhill. So let's see. I did the computer stuff because we had to do computer things, and the trainer was like, oh, that's pretty much gonna be all you need is what's on the computer screen. So when it came to time that we had to actually start trying to do the work, there was stuff I didn't really get. So he was like, yeah, after lunch I'll show you. Well, after lunch he didn't show me, which, okay, whatever. Some people, when they're your trainers, they're not very helpful on jobs. It just depends on the individual and stuff, so And I was like, whatever. I went a little longer and then I figured it out myself, what I was struggling with. And, he come over, was supposed to go over some stuff on, the trainers and some other staff that are higher up than just the hourly workers get tablets they get to do stuff on and have you check out reading certain things on them sometimes. And so he brought that over a few times because he pretty much just came over to do the testing and being weird, which at first I was like, I don't really know how to respond to this, because I wasn't expecting it. But he started joking about, well, to explain it, there's an area of the floor that in the fulfillment center where most people are not allowed to walk. Because there's robots out there and they can't tell when a person's there. They'll just run you over because they don't recognize you're there. And so he started joking like, oh, don't go out there and dance naked. He said that at least 3 or 4 different times to me, and at least once he said, oh, I did it and got in trouble once. Oh, no, just kidding. And that was creepy to me, but I didn't know how to handle it. And then at one point, he had come over, I was scanning things like I was supposed to, and some things are just in plain boxes, but when you scan them, or when it brings up something it wants you to scan, because it depends on what you're doing, but what I was doing, you scan stuff and then it'll bring up on the screen something. Well, for this particular box, it happened to just be a plain brown box with stickers and stuff on it. And, it really wasn't something that I'd expect someone to try and talk to me about at work, because, like, oh my god, I love that kind of stuff, and kept trying to point it out and get me to focus on the image on the screen, which it was a neon light, and I can't remember if it said fuck you or fuck off, something, but I remember the first word was fuck. So I'm like, oh, that's great, that's really weird that he's trying to make comments on that, especially since I've never met him before, so that's really inappropriate, but whatever. I tried to brush it off because I didn't know if I could or should say something about the naked so-called jokes, but after he left, because he left before anyone else did, and everyone had said they had different schedules, but he's like, no, you're on the same schedule as me. And he was telling people they had to stay, which was weird because he was leaving before us, but we had to leave at the certain time. And so I don't know how that works. Maybe trainers are supposed to go do certain things, or fill out paperwork or something before they leave, or whatever, I don't know. So anyways, he left. And so I was there for a little bit. I didn't know who my manager or whatever was supposed to be after he left, because he didn't even tell us. He's like, I don't know, someone will be around, probably. And that's pretty much what he did, is he left everyone there. And I don't know if he said anything to the other female that was in the group of people or not, but I ended up, like, I'm not sure, because I my schedule, because there's an app for the company where you can see what your schedule says to do. And it said different than what he said. So, since I still had, like, 2 hours or so, if it was what my app had told me. So I went down because we were on the 4th floor, and it was also pretty weird being up there with him making those comments, because there wasn't a lot of people walking back and forth past the stations. But anyways, I went down because where my normal supervisors are, it's on the 2nd floor. So I went down there, and I found someone, and I'm like, so my app says this, but the trainer I had said this, and he's already left. What do I do? So, they were like, the person I asked, he was like, oh, you always follow whatever the app says, and then he double-checked with someone else who had the same kind of vest that signifies he should know more than me about the stuff. Because they have certain vests they have people wear that are higher up, so that the regular hourly workers can tell who these people are to be able to ask questions and stuff, and the other guy with the same vest, which still would have been like a manager or supervisor or what have you. He's like, yeah, you always want to go by the app. He's in another department anyway, so he probably doesn't know what he's going on about there. And then I was like, I don't remember the exact number of where I was up there, and if I go wandering around, I'm probably not going to be able to find where I'm supposed to be. So they put me on a station with what I've normally been doing. And, yeah, so after that was all said and done, when it was about a little bit before clocking out, because you're supposed to clock out at a certain time, I signed off the station and went downstairs to the 1st floor and clocked out at the correct time, and so I called my sister because she had already said, call me when you're done and I'll come pick you up, so you don't have to ride the bus. And so I called her, and I'm like, this guy was really creepy, but I don't know if I should say anything about this or not. I've never experienced this. And she's like, well, what was he saying? So I told her, and she's like, yeah, that's sexual harassment. You should talk to HR about that. And I was like, HR's already left. They're not going to be here for, I forgot it was going to be like a couple hours. So she said, okay, well, find someone that's one of the higher ups in the pink vest, because the pink vests are, which I already know are the like highest up in my department. They're the managers of the managers / supervisors, whatever. They're their bosses, so they're my boss's boss. So I couldn't find the one that is from my exact department, but I found a random one because it's a big building and there just happened to be someone down there, and he ended up being from the morning crew, but it was awkward because I couldn't find a female to talk to, so I asked him if we could talk one-on-one somewhere. Well, first I asked if he had a minute, and he's like, yeah, sure. What's up? I said, is there any place we can talk where it's just stuff? He's like, okay. And he led me to an area where there wasn't a lot of foot traffic going on, so we could talk one-on-one. And it was very uncomfortable, but I told him about what had went on before that, and it was extra awkward because I'm not good about talking about this kind of stuff in a work setting, and I'm especially not good about talking about this kind of stuff with males, especially males I don't really know. But in this kind of case, it was one of those things I had to do because it's a harassment issue. But anyways, another guy who was also in a pink vest did come down the hallway area where we were talking, and I don't know if he was just listening in to listen in, or if he was just waiting for the guy I was talking to be done so that he could talk to him about something, or what the deal was. But that made it extra uncomfortable. But he took out something and took a bunch of notes, and he's like, alright, I'm really sorry this happened to you. It shouldn't have happened to you. And since it did, I've taken down all these notes, and the person's not in yet, but they'll be coming in with when the next group of HR start their shift. Because it was an in-between where I'll call them group 1, had already left for the night, and then for the morning, another group would be coming in to be there for the HR stuff. So he's like, I have my HR person, I'll email her, and they'll set up a case. So next time, on your next shift, they'll probably call you to ask about it, but with the cameras and stuff, they should get the information they need about this. So, I was like, alright, thank you. And, I went and waited for my sister to be coming along. And it was very... things started to go downhill from there because I didn't realize it, but before this event had happened, I ended up, when I got my new counselor, because I have to have a counselor to keep getting my prescriptions. But anyways, she diagnosed me also with PTSD, which that was set off by this creepy dude that, being he was in a training position, he should have been there long enough that he knew that, hey, you shouldn't say this, but even if he hadn't been there that long, he should know there's certain topics you don't bring up with someone you just met, unless it's that type of setting. I mean, obviously, if he had went to a strip club or something and he wanted to talk something like that about someone there, with someone there or whatever, that would be more appropriate than a regular professional job setting. So, I've been having issues with that. I haven't actually been in. I had a little bit of a runaround with when I finally got the phone number I needed. I talked to someone that was supposed to be the person I needed to talk to, but he's like, oh no, you gotta talk to this person in another department, I'm gonna transfer you. And even though I said there was already a report made, he decided to send me to someone else who does reports. But since there's already a report in the system, there was nothing this guy could do to help me. So I tried again, wasn't able to get anyone, did some emails with other HR people from like the head office or whatever. for the company, and wasn't really getting very far. I finally found a way in the phone number when I called again last that got me a website, which I went in, logged into, and set up a leave of absence request, and because it was something related to the job, and hopefully that goes through. I don't know if it will or not, but now I finally I had gotten another email that was, you need to reply to this, or your case is gonna just be, quitting, because I haven't been going in since this incident. So I replied to him, I'm like, I've been talking to people, trying to get things going. It wasn't, I, do now have a leave of absence in or something, request or whatever, but I detailed in my email, hey, I'm actually doing this stuff, so I don't know why it's saying, hey, why I'm keep getting these emails and stuff, and they're like, okay, we looked, you do have this case open, we're gonna keep our case open until it's decided if you get that leave of absence or not. So, pretty much now I have to wait on someone else, and if they don't accept that leave of absence, then it's gonna be in the system that I quit. Which is what it is, but I don't know what happened about that guy or anything, because I haven't talked to anyone from my actual job location, but it's been crazy. So that same morning, my sister bought me some breakfast that she brought, so I ate this sausage wrap thing from a gas station, and we ended up going to a thrift store I hadn't been to before, which is kinda close to where I live, and for $2 I got this Pua plush, which is really big, so that was really nice, and it's in another, across the room over there. I haven't figured out where I'm putting it yet, but I had a little yokai watch Jibanyan figure, and it's weird because his body and feet go up in his head. It's some type of McDonald's toy, but his feet and body just can be pushed up into his head, and so you just have his head, or you have his head in his body. I don't really know how it fully works, because I can put his feet and body in there, but I don't know how to get up to pop back out. But randomly I seen earlier that the feet and body part, which is one solid thing, and pop back out, so I don't really and then I've kinda just been trying to take it one day at a time and get through all this craziness happening. I guess if the leave of absence thing doesn't go through, it just wasn't meant to be for now, and I can just figure something out for work stuff. It would stink, because if I don't get this leave of absence thing in, I won't be able to stay, which, before that one creep, all the trainers and stuff I had were actually really cool. I had talked some to a few other coworkers that I got along alright with, so it wasn't too bad. But like I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, it's not. Today I did a lot of listening to music and trying to unwind and not keep being up here with all this negativity. been a challenge, but I've been working at it, and today was even more fun because I ended up coming upstairs to get some, or going upstairs to get some milk so I could have some of my cereal. And my brother-in-law was like, "Oh, good, you're up here, you can help out." And he's like, I can't look down, so I could really use some help. Because he's gotten sick, so anytime he tries to look down, his nose is fauceting out. So that's, ugh. I know how that is. It's not fun or pretty, but yeah. So I stayed upstairs a bit and helped out with stuff. At one point, the oldest kid had read 2 books to me, which took way longer than it should have, but she got to a point where she was just pretending she couldn't understand how to read certain words that I already knew she knew how to read. But she was just playing around, which she does sometimes, but eventually she got through the book, which I was asked her a couple times, like, do you actually want to read this or not? Because if you're just gonna play, you can go play, you don't have to finish reading. But she's like, oh no, I want to read. And eventually she did get through it way longer to read for her than it should have been for both books. One took her 25 minutes, the other took her like 37 to get through. And they're little I can read books. The first one was level 1, which she should have been able to do like in 2 or 3 minutes. So, but it shouldn't have took 20 minutes to get through. And the other one was a level 2, so it is supposed to be a little harder, but it was similar in the level of reading, I thought, but just me personally. Anyways, that shouldn't have took over a half hour to read. That should have been like 5 to 10 minutes max, if that. But it is what it is. And after that, I started to read to her, so I read her some Goosebumps because she wanted me to read to her. So that's probably really why she was reading to me, because she's not big into reading, but she does like being read to. Which, kids are kids. And while I was reading Goosebumps to her, my other nephew came out and went to his dad. You won't believe it. The baby is in mint. So I put down the book and goes in the master bathroom, and that was crazy. She had moved the training potty up by the counter, and she was sitting on it while painting the cupboards, the outside of them with toothpaste. And she was painting her, rubbing it on her legs and chest, just having a blast painting herself. Which is very easy for kids to do. At least it wasn't something that was actually dangerous, because all the really dangerous stuff is out of her reach. But she ended up wasting a whole tube. But kids, like I said, kids are kids, and when it's a 3-year-old, you can't really do much if they get into something like that, even though in her case she's really smart and knows she's not supposed to, but a lot of times when kids know they're not supposed to be into anything, that's when they really want to be in it. And she just likes to paint herself and paint things with anything she can get her hands on, really, but 3-year-old, so. And if it's spaghetti, for example, if sauce is with sauce, the sauce is gonna be finger paint. If someone gave her applesauce, the applesauce is gonna turn into finger paint, etc., etc. So, yeah. I think that's about it for right now. I started to ramble a bit, but I think it was a good start to getting back on track with blogging and stuff. And hopefully, as I vlog more, we'll see improvement in myself, because that's what I really need right now, is to get through this crazy spiral that creep set off. Sometimes life sucks, but I've been through worse, I guess, so I'll do what I can to hang in here. I'm not actually suicidal or anything, but just my anxiety and all that stuff has been crazy. I really don't want to get into all that, so this has really not been good, because with things like trauma or bad memories, I like to just push that away. I don't like to let it be going on replay in my head. I don't like to deal with things like that, but I can't lock it up again so I don't remember, so I got to do what I can to work through it. I'm sorry this isn't a more positive vlog, but that's really the kind of vlogs I want to do, so it also makes it hard, because when I'm feeling like I've been feeling, I don't really have that positivity I want to send out. So, for now I'm doing okay, and this Pua will be here with me, and he's really soft now. He wasn't before, but putting him in the wash with some softener, he's really soft now. And yeah, really worth $2. Come on, everyone needs one. Anyways, anything else I can... Oh, yeah, I had been doing some drawings yesterday. I'll probably, have to fix them up because they are not done. But I got, like, this. I don't know if you can see that. That I did. This one, which I can't see if I move it. I think it's good. And then lastly, I did a random YouTube search I messed up a bit, but here's a random, or YouTube search, a random guy off a Google search. So, I took a random picture off of Google of a Japanese guy and drew him. It needs work, but I want to practice drawing more people. So that's what I'm going to work on. I do need to clean those up and maybe redo his eyes, because his eyes themselves are good, but the placement is off. I should have did crosshairs, but I didn't, so that'll have to be done. Yeah, so a little bit of drawing to take my mind off things. It's kind of weird because I did the Google search. It was supposed to be a search of pictures of attractive guys, and the one picture that came up, you couldn't really see the guy's face. He was eating a sandwich. It's like, well, I guess that's attractive imagery to some people. I don't know if I'm gonna do any more, but I do have I have a huge-ish stack of unopened trading cards here, so I might do some Pokemon unboxing videos, and I can't really think of anything else, but please stay positive, and until next time, take care. Bye.